be seeded directly into the main event. The only team that would be seeded lower than is ENCE.
Yeah.
And to put that in perspective, they beat ENCE 2-0 at the major. So that just puts into perspective of how good this NiP team can be.
Yes.
However, we've literally seen the best version of their hot and coldness that we've seen today, the fact that they lose against Domination.
Well, the game is live, so let's get into the action and see exactly what this match has in store for us. As you can see, we're on Inferno first. This is picked by looking for Org. Next up, it's Mirage, which we saw looking for Org pick a little bit earlier against Godsend, but it is NiP's best map, and to decide the series will be Ancient. Now, NiP have hated Ancient deciders in their previous 2 games. They lost it to Apex and they lost it to Domination. We'll see if we go the distance here. Brolan, the star of NiP, receives contact, can't find a frag. It's looking like Aleksib are trying to smother the CT side right now, but once they come into contact, they start to lose names.
Yeah, I mean, it's already... Oh, there's a player already in Graveyard. Brolan shooting his little booty, peeking out there in that position, but it's a bit of a precarious position, but Brolan, 1-2, and the third is a little bit more messy, but him with the help of Headtrick can make sure that they can clear out the pistol round, and I think that will just settle things for NiP a bit. Yes, they've lost against Domination previously, but I mean, there's no, like, if you look at the right side of your screens, everyone bar Headtrick, everyone should have known for at least the past 3-4 years of Counter-Strike, right? Headtrick's obviously this person who's only come up into the fray for probably about the last 12 months. That might even be a bit generous, but for the most part, these guys, they've got the experience, they know how to deal with it, and they should be coming out as victors, and the key word is should.
Yeah, nothing guaranteed, especially based off the past few results. But like I said, this is to save face for NiP. This is to actually just remind everybody what they're capable of. I mean, even if like they win this, but it's in a 2-1 fashion with overtimes, that's still going to be such a sus win, right? That's still going to be so skeptical. They want this to be clean cut. Domination, if you will.
Bad timing, bad timing.
Yeah, I know. Still too soon. Brolan a bit soon there to pull out his utility.
And this
we
is
do
a
see the
force fire.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't even get the bomb plant, but they've gone all in.
Yeah, it's interesting to note because there's lightning on a glass scout. He's just swapped it over to Fade, who's on 12 HP. But now they're going to be coming through a mid-smoke, and it's just farming for Headtrick, giving some headshots. And AW, or AV rather, is just taken down Brolan towards the B side. He's actually going to double up, but I wouldn't get my hopes up if I'm a looking for Org fan. AW is going to run into a couple enemies towards bottom mid, and in no time, he's going to get cleaned up by Headtrick finally. 6-0 at the start. An ace that round. Headtrick is coming in hot, and he's one of these players where if he gets the ball rolling, he's going to be extremely, and I mean extremely, tough to stop.
Yeah, even finishes off that ace in style with the trick shot, headshot out of the Desert Eagle. Now, I actually would go so far as to say, I reckon Headtrick's feeling the pressure the least, because he's like the least experienced player. This is his realm, right? Like, coming from the lower tiers of Counter-Strike, playing against relatively unknown players, this is where he can thrive. Whereas the other guys, they've all got crazy reputations and expectations and pressure on their shoulders. This is just another day in the office for Headtrick. So I reckon this is where we can really start to see him thrive, Nick.
Yeah, I think he's for sure going to try get to as much in the green as possible. But I think with all that being said, with the preface about NiP running into this game, I mean, Chiron's on 5 HP. I really don't see anywhere in which he can win this round. There we go. With all the prefaces that we've made, or the pretenses rather, with NiP in the run-up to this game, I don't want to like try understate how good NiP are. Obviously, we're talking about people that can genuinely, and when I say this, I mean genuinely, give a run of the money to the best teams in the world on their day. So, on paper, this genuinely should be a 2-0, looking for Org, not even getting double digits. And I'd go as far to say as I wouldn't even be surprised if that happens. However, in the context of how things have been going, you don't really know with this NiP lineup. However, I'm gonna stray on the side of caution in a way and just say that NiP are gonna win this 2-0, and I put my neck out there.
Okay, all right. Well, I tend to agree with you, and I think they have to. That it has to be that type of a result. Either way, we're gonna see contact in towards Banana. Fade 8 finds the opening kill on Rez. Brolan dunks a grenade. He catches one in return, so damage done, but it's a man advantage up for the T side. Keep in mind, going to Mirage next. On paper, that should just be unwinnable for Aleksib against this NiP team, who pick it against the best teams in the world and routinely beat them as well. So, you know, we talk about win conditions. For Aleksib, that they can't go into Mirage down 0-1 and realistically expect to keep themselves in the series.
I couldn't agree with you more. And in the series, I mean, Headtrick gets caught in the regression there, so this looks like it might be the first round of the board for Aleksib. However, I say that, and Config has reinforced this B bomb side. So the smokes towards CT and towards Coffin are coming in with the molly towards New Box. Flash for Broland. Config is going to come through. The flash does come a bit early, which means that AW is not blind. Broland towards the back of the site gets 2. Orb trained on his position, but it misses. Now he's staying alive. He can't quite get the third, and now it's Aleksib in the 1v3. And does he fish for a couple kills, I wonder?
Dead. Oh, okay. Missed shot there by Lightning. Gonna afford Aleksib his life, but I mean, should be unwinnable for him. The door even being closed in on him, and he's aware of that.
Imagine he gets the
not
kill.
like... Oh, okay. Yeah,
mind.
Smet does get the kill there. No imagination required. But, I mean, yeah, NiP were chasing that round, right? They go for the early aggression top banana. They lose out a player. Headtrick tries to re-aggress to regain some form of control. Steps into his opposite number scope. Goes down. Config tries to make a play off the back of a flash. That doesn't work either. So, yeah, NiP just being thwarted at every turn in that round.
Yeah, and they've decided to reinvest into this one. Broland's dropped an AWP over towards Hetrick, and he's got a little pistol in return. So there is a full belt utility on a couple players, that being Config and Broland, but only 2 mollies amongst the team. So we are going to see how Hetrick activates himself with this AWP, obviously being the big green, the most impactful weapon on the side of NiP by quite some margin. He is towards Apps, and where the pistols are, he's been blinded. Hetrick's still staying there. He's full confident towards his teammates. They're re-aggressing towards that area. And it does look like NiP are sort of pushing the issue, but they've decided better of it. I love this boost from Rez. I think it's such a good play to catch people off guard, and I don't think you're blind from all the god flashes, so I think Rez is going to get the first kill. Yeah, he's going to jump on top of first oranges afterwards. I think he should be good. There you go. There you go. Say no more.
All by design. See, what makes that boost really strong is the player who's underneath you is basically tucked into the corner, right? So he's safe. He's unspottable. And it's not an angle you're ever going to clear. However, pretty bad miss there from Headtrick, which kind of undoes all that hard work from the boost, negates the impact. That's one of the key weapons as well. It looks like Aleksib is going to go and try and recover the AWP. But the round seemingly will end up over towards that B bomb site. Still 2 players on that side of the map for NiP. Aleksib has recovered the AWP, and he's going to gravitate in that direction as well. So NiP can still certainly make something of this round.
Yeah, and
now,
the fact that there's been a smoke dropped at their feet, and now they're coming through. Rez has got the first, the flash not good enough. Brolin can respond to the flash of his own, but Chiron knows better of it. But again, the molly actually dropped at his feet, means it's 2v3. They're coming through a smoke, and all the reinforcements are here, bar 1. That being Config stuck towards ASAP. Aleksib, he's now got the AWP. Ooh, Lightning with the lightning fast shot onto him in a second. Means that it's going to be a 2v1 post plant, and Config with a mere MP9, a flash, and no kit is going to have to try and retake this bomb site.
Yeah, if he's playing against Vitality in the situation, he's heading for the hills and he's saving his SMG. But against LFO, NiP are probably going to be feeling out a lot more of these retakes and these clutches in general. We saw it from Aleksib in the previous round as well. Config, senses will prevail, picks up the AK and gets out of there. That's rough for NiP. I mean, there was like 12 seconds left on the clock there when LFO were pushing into 2 players on the B bomb side. And Lightning's actually able to deal with both of them. So it's quite bleak at the end of the day there for the CT side. I mean, Aleksib, he did look a little bit lackadaisical, a little bit slow on the scope in there, right towards Coffins. You can see uncomfortable with the AWP in his hands. And now NiP are going to have to eco.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as much as it is a star-studded roster on the side of NiP, right? Like, you think Rez is one of the players where on his day he can pretty much he can go toe-to-toe with some of the best riflers in the world. Obviously, he had that stint AWPing, but that's pretty much just a blip on the radar. Headtrick has been this up-and-coming Tier 2, now turned Tier 1 AWPer. Broland, I mean, he needs no introduction. And at a stage, Config was the best rifler in Denmark. So any of these players on their day can obviously take out the server, but I think an interesting thing to talk about is the fact that NiP against domination, Aleksib was the only real person completely lagging behind the rest of their team. Config and Hetrick were both plus 16 at the end of the 3 maps, and they did lose that 2-1. So Aleksib needs to carry some of the mantle coming into the next, or maybe either that or Rez or someone like Broland needs to step up even more if NiP were to win this game.
I want to talk a little bit about that interview that Config had at the end of after they lost to Apex when they were eliminated, and he said they trusted the strat book more than they trusted the players. Now, I don't know how you interpret that, but my opinion is that's a bit of a shot at Aleksib, right? Because you're essentially criticizing the way that he called the game, and everybody knows that Aleksib is a strat book caller. He always has been, as we do see fight breaking out towards the top of Banana. But that's Aleksib's style, man. He's always been the guy who's called from the book, you know, set plays from spawn type of thing. And my assessment is you can't really expect him to change that up just because you're in a major semi or in a Legends game, you know, end of the Swiss stage to try and get through to the playoffs. So what do you make of that, Nick?
I think it's one of these situations where you live by the sword, you die by the sword, you know, like it's the same sort of style that gets you victories against these top teams that I mentioned prior, right? So you can win 16-8 against Furia just as much as you can lose like 16-11 against Na'Vi, for argument's sake, right? It's you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and the whole point about the other four players buying into the coaches and the IGL system is exactly that. You've got to buy into the system and trust that they'll make the decisions when they make the decisions, because that's their job at the end of the day, right? And when someone turns a blind eye to that and says that they should go away from their job, right? It's essentially that. They've curated their way of playing, and config is sort of taken in this case of wrong decision making, and they should be doing things completely different. It is a really big slap in the face for Aleksib, and I do because from an IGL's perspective, that's the last thing you want to hear from your star player. I go as far as saying,
exactly.
Right?
I'd say you keep that in-house, that type of an assessment.
Yeah,
you don't
go
to a public interview and put that out there. And we can talk more about it when we have a little bit more of a break. Config does actually fall off the railing there, and that's going to prompt LFO to start to make their way towards the A bomb side into the jaws of death, though. Crossfire set up, and it's successful. Accomplishes what it was designed to do. Lightning left remaining. He was pretty quiet against Godsent earlier, but we've seen some nice rounds out of him so far. That one kill on the re-aggression out of head trick, and then saving the round when they pushed into the B bomb sites as well. Thing is, for LFO, Nick, everybody's going to have to be at the top of the game here, and even then some, if they're going to stand any chance of upsetting NiP.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I mean, when we think back to that Godsent game, it was pretty much just AV being pretty much the only player, right? I'm fairly confident he was the only player that ended positive across the two maps. So when you think you've got someone like Chiron on your team, this heavy hitter, this player that was one of the standout players on the Virtus Pro / Outsiders roster, and then he's not really doing his job, I say that quite loosely, obviously, but if he's a player that can come in and take the games by the scruff of the neck and win rounds single-handedly, and AV's doing his thing, and maybe Lightning hits a couple op shots here or there, making it sound so easy in theory, but then it gives looking for Org just that extra bit of punching power, because we know that they're punching above their weight. However, NiP are in the situation to start with. They're in the low bracket for a reason, right? So looking for Org need to capitalize on that, and if they have players playing on form, then that can for sure happen.
And it's not unfathomable for a player like Chiron to have like a 22 kill half, right? Like on one of these maps as well, where he does just pop off and go crazy. He definitely has that in him. So we'll have to see if those factors all combine, if the stars align. Have been able to get a lot of control towards the top of Banana right now. It's an all-in investment from LFO. They're going dry. They're taking contact. Head trick on the angle. Oh my god, that's what I'm talking about from Chiron. Just absolutely destroys the AWP. Chiron's gone through the molly as well. Knows reses towards second origins. Thankfully, Chiron's been isolated, so Rez can get that kill and then reset. And that's a beautiful repositioning coming through from him. Gets another frag and he stays alive. Now it's about buying time. His presence alone is having some serious impact. And next he's going to face straight into the smoke. Spots out Lightning. Not aware that there's another player actually in the smoke. They cross each other, and Spade will get that kill, but Rez trades, and Rez is the hero of that round.
Honestly, the fact that he was able to get that one kill, obviously Chiron's in front of the molly. He's stuck in between a rock and a hard place. It's one of these where you fight or you hide, and there's not really a right situation. Obviously, maybe you shouldn't go in front of the molly in the first place, but in that spur of the moment decision, you get the opening kill. And he's so far ahead of his teammates. It is really rough for him. But credit to Rez, the fact that he was able to get that opening kill, and the reposition is what won him the round. The fact that he can go back towards the behind the fountain, looking for Org none the wiser. He was able to get a couple kills, drop the smoke, buy time. Aleksib came in the rotate. Really sick stuff from Rez. And obviously Config got that lurker towards that A side of the bomb site. And Broadland's going to do his thing towards Banana. This round, there's nothing much really to say about it. Chiron's got the only deagle, unless he has an absolutely unstoppable round. It should pretty much just be a 6th on the board for NiP. And this is looking for Orb's map pick to keep in mind. That the fact that obviously they picked Mirage into Godsent, and it does seem to be a map that they enjoy to play. You mentioned it earlier, Matt, the fact that NiP are a team that picked Mirage into the best teams in the world and beat them fairly often. So looking for Org to get those 2-3 maps, or even to have a bit of a competitive game, I'm going to go as far as to say they have to win this map.
I completely agree. It's a win condition for sure. And they're kind of cursing domination right now, right? Because they would have wanted to have played against domination in this lower bracket match. They would have much rather fancied their chances against domination instead of NiP, for God's sake. So they're the ones who suffer the most from that upset victory as well, which is pretty brutal. All 5 players stay alive for NiP. They've now got the ball rolling. They've got some momentum behind them. They've got cash in the bank as well. Everybody's on the board. Everybody's chipping in. Brolan's looking good. I mean, he could win this game single-handedly for NiP with a little bit of a supporting act from a few of his teammates as well.
Yeah, I agree completely. Brolan is one of the names which I'd say everyone should keep an eye out for. I think Config is the other one, and then obviously Headtrick, the guy bearing the big green, are obviously the 3 names which I would say jump out more often than not. Obviously, Config is a sort of guy who, on Astralis, he was the go-to player, him alongside BlameF. And then obviously he's found himself on this NiP roster because of the absence of his name's completely slipped my mind. The XRGL Hampus, that's his name, of course.
Hampus, there we go.
And now
yeah.
Config's found himself on this roster, and I mean he's looking to prove the naysayers wrong. And I mean no one needs to like doubt this guy's fragging ability. His mechanics are absolutely unbelievably good. So he's a player that can quite easily get 30 kills in a game, but if he's not feeling it, he can also quite easily get 10. But majority of the time, he's the guy getting 30, so it becomes pretty easy for him.
Been one of my favorite players for a long time.
I'm more of an Aleksib fan myself.
Yeah, you IGLs, you stick together, so it's understandable. But I just think Brolan, there was a bit of a dip in form since the Krieg nerf, and it kind of actually feels like I'd say in the last like 3-4 months, it actually feels like he's trending upwards, honestly. So that's really good for NiP. Either way, looking at the round here, LFO down by a man and pretty light on utility. 2 smokes, 3 flashes, a molly is all they have left. So it makes sense that they just fall back onto the B execute. Actually, they've been favoring this B bomb site a lot so far, which means they're testing the combo of Rez and Brolan. That's going to be very difficult to deal with. Rez also blocks the smoke, so he can get aerial on top of the coffins, but that's a great trade out of Chiron. Brolan's low, tucked in towards second oranges. If he can get at least a kill, that would do really well. That would leave his team in still a man advantageous position, and he does find the frag onto Smet.
Now the bomb's getting planted. They've mollied towards family, but it doesn't matter. Lightning's found himself there anyway, and there's been an entry flash to get Aleksib at least a little bit more lines of fire to work with. But Chiron and Lightning, they're in 2 really strong, powerful positions. Chiron's taken pretty much control of the coffin/backstage area, and if Headtrick's none the wiser, he could get his head torn off. But Chiron, it pretty much comes down to him. If he can peek on a timing, and then Lightning will do it afterwards, they can end up getting a couple kills. So they know Chiron's position, they know Lightning's position with the flash as well, and a missed shot from Headtrick means that it could be working out for them, but Chiron gets spammed, the smoke's missed. Aleksib is sitting in the smoke, but they can see his feet, and now it's just been squandered. He wins on time, Config's got nothing, he's going to die to the bomb, and just like that, it's looking for Org with the 4th, and I would have seen that, if I would have seen that 30 seconds on the round to go, it was NiP's round to lose, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, mate, I kind of feel like NiP just give up too much respect in the retake there. They just take too long to get in position. They're playing very slowly, almost like they're retaking against one of the best teams in the world. I think in this type of a situation, you actually just need to back yourself. Just back your aim, 1 flash into the side, 2 players charging in together. Not play too slowly, too methodically, because then you're starting to put pressure on yourself at that point. I feel like NiP actually were just almost their own worst enemies in that retake. Missed shot proved to be incredibly costly as well. 6-4. No money in the bank for whoever loses this round, so economic reset looms for the loser.
This looks like another bulk pop. It is going to be another bulk pop. So Config comes down onto his plate again. Can he get a couple kills in the entry? Okay, the flash comes out. Config is still on the balcony. He playing between the 2. Aleksib gets shot in the meantime, and just like that, that's the round. Even though Headtrick gets the kill, the A bomb side is vacant. However, AWA's in the bomb in the smoke at the bottom of mid. But even then, in this 2v3, all you got to do if you're a NiP is save the rifles. I mean, Brolan's on 14 kills already. Headtrick is on 9 of his own. But as soon as you get that entry kill from the bulk pop from the T side, it's completely different. It becomes really tough for the CTs to win that round, especially when you're doing the standard sort of 1 balcony, 1 lane, 1 arch setup. The only time you really get foiled from a bulk pop is if the CTs are playing all the way back towards in the bomb site. Maybe they're doing a double rifle side setup and the AWP towards Moto. Something along those lines can can be the chink in the armor of a bulk pop, but if you know that the CTs are playing a little bit further forward and a little bit more disconnected, a bulk pop becomes super strong, and that's exactly what Looking for Orc found.
As far as I can tell, we've only seen 2 different strategies from Aleppo throughout these past 11 rounds. The one is dead banana control, exec B with 30 seconds on the clock. The other is a bulk burst. That's just all we've seen out of them so far, right? It's been very one-dimensional. And if you're NiP and you're reading that, how would you adjust to that, Nick? How would you deal with those 2 strategies that are consistently coming through from the T side?
I think if I'm NiP, what I'd do is I'd send 3 players towards B early. You cover your bases. You make sure you can get banana control with the third guy, maybe either dumping nades or offering a supportive flashbang. I think that'd be step 1. Get banana control, leave the person with the most utility there, maybe even the AWP. You can leave the AWP there, post it down the long line, can re-smoke bottom banana, and then you have a sort of 3 rifle A setup, and then any sort of A end against 3 rifles, whether it's a wrap, whether it's a bulk pop, whether it's an N1 burst, or rather lane burst, anything like that, 3 rifles are going to be able to deal with super solidly. So that might be an idea that NiP might toy with these next couple rounds. Brolan's going for a walk down banana. He's got the first, he spots the next couple, and now it's a question of how are NiP going to push and pull this map. They've spotted at least one more player towards bottom banana, and how is Brolan going to reposition himself with this M4? Are they going to put the AWP back towards B? Are they going to leave the AWP towards A? It does look like everyone's just running around. Headtrick stuck towards the A bomb site with the AVP.
Where's Config?
Where is Config?
Config looks AFK as far as I can tell.
Ooh,
I think he timed out. Okay.
Oh, no, dude.
That's unfortunate. Okay,
Aleksib,
now they're
making
back to
noise.
the 4v4. Yeah, he's loud and proud, and Chiron will snap up that kill. Brolan is still over towards his B bomb site. He's standing out in the open. He wants to go man mode right now. You can see they're actually not too confident to go in towards him, and with good reason. Okay, actually a very easy round at the end of the day there for Aleppo. I actually like the way NiP played that. The fact that they only had the 2 saved guns coming into that round. Brolan takes initiative, right? You can't afford to just sit back in the bomb site and hope that they come in your direction. He gets aggressive. He pushes down banana, forces the fight, and then the logic is, okay, they've seen me with one of the hero rifles over towards B. Surely their reaction is going to be to try and hit him towards A. So they proactively start to rotate in that direction. But Aleppo, with Chiron making his way through, arches in towards CT, and a player in apartments, players top banana, they had plenty options available.
Yeah, and for NiP, it's a really tough pill to swallow, I must say. The fact that they get that opening kill, obviously Brolan down towards banana, they're able to have that couple seconds window because they know banana's clear. And they were starting to push and pull around the map until I'm fairly confident that they all realized, obviously Config said or whatever, that he must have timed out or PC froze, whatever might be the case. And then all of a sudden it was panic stations. Aleksib was running in CT spawn, didn't know where they were. Chiron took that timing towards CT, and then all of a sudden the round just foiled itself from there. But I think I really liked NiP's idea there. I thought what they executed there at the start of the round was really good. And I think if they didn't have that timeout and they were able to cover their bases towards every area of the map, it could have been the round could have had a completely different complexion. But unfortunately, because it's the nature of playing online, right, these things happen, internet drops, PC freezes, anything like this, and unfortunately, because damage had already been taken in the round, you can't restart the round, especially in a 4v5 or 5v4 in your favor. So it's a tough pill to swallow from NiP, but at the same time, they're lucky it's at a 5-6 scoreline, now turned 6-6 obviously, and not in a full gun round. You're still going to be buying in this round,
that's what I was going to say.
It's bad, but it could be worse. It's one of those things.
Hopefully not going to be too long before we get Config back in the server. I'd assume that they're all still playing from Paris. Well, maybe they made their way back to a bootcamp facility. I mean, obviously Europe's super interconnected, so very easy to get from A to B. So I'm not actually sure where they are in the world right now. I doubt they've all gone back home and that they're already playing from home. That seems a bit more unlikely to me, but who knows? I don't.
Yeah, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Let me just pull some strings quick.
There we go. Oh, but why are we counting down?
Maybe the HUD just needs a bit of reset. I hope. No ways they're playing 4v5. Impossible.
Yeah,
right?
Impossible. Yeah, impossible.
Right?
Yeah, impossible.
Right?
We just need it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, don't worry. We're good. As far as there's undefined on the minimap. He must be undefined.
Oh, that's cool.
There we go. Yeah, Nick, you and I had we nearly had a little bit of an apoplexy there, passed out. But all's well and ends well. When you search for NiP's name in the playoffs of the major, you just get undefined.
I really like the approach from NiP this round. I spoke about maybe sending 3 guys towards B at the start of the round. They've gone with more of a bit of a gamble stack, at least towards that area at the start of the map. They've still got brackets control, so it is an area where you can keep 3 players towards B. You shouldn't really be too worried. They're playing double close towards N1. They're making sure they're strong against any bulk pops at the start of the round. Lane, sorry, that is. I carry on saying N1 just because it's a local thing.
South African.
That's in the locker for future though. But if looking for Org walk into this B bomb site, then they're going to be completely destroyed. They double boost towards CT and towards triple. Becomes super hard to counteract this play. But it does look like it might be a split smoke thrown in and an N1 and a lane flash rather. It does look like a B split might be on the cards, but NiP are fine with the B split. The split smokes missed, but they are going to split B, so this should be good for NiP. Oh, but Rez, why are you running to try fight? Okay, deep CT smoke, I like it.
Yeah, there we go. Does employ the more passive option. He's got a player boosted up there as well. Nades come through the smoke. Hedrick's in such a good position right now, though actually they jump up to spot him on the boost. They charge through afterwards. Oh my god, Rez extinguishes the threat with the triple kill. That baits Brolan into the fight. He gets himself a frag. Only Lightning left remaining, and Brolan knows he just has to play time at this point. No need to give any unnecessary fights away. He's trying to figure out where the orb is positioned. Yeah, Brolan's playing this like a veteran right now. Huge amounts of discipline coming through from him. Lightning left remaining. They should get the kill. It's just a matter of time. Although, actually, no, I think after he finds that frag, they won't continue to pursue him. So the round does go the way of NiP. I mean, that was on a knife's edge at one point.
Yeah, it really was. But I think Brolan, his CS IQ is just higher than the average person, I feel. I think he's such an intelligent player, and it was exemplified in that situation, right? He knows if he stays alive, impossible for Lightning to win that round. If he dies, he allows him in the avenue into winning that 1v3. But because he stays alive, as I said, just becomes pretty much impossible. Even though Aleksib dies, still means that they win the round. That's 7 rounds on the board for NiP. And again, they've gone for an early 3B lean. It's a bit of an aggro play, but Brolan gets the opening kill yet again. 17 for 6.
My goodness. He is having quite the game. And this is some deep control coming through from him as well. He's even ahead of the response smoke to come through from the CT side. Fade 8 will be the victim as a result. He took it for granted that the smoke was in play. He thought that he'd be able to just walk through the CT smoke and get some control, but not when Brolan's on the server. 3 kill death ratio coming through from him right now.
And now
NiP... Yeah, go for it, mate.
NiP know that they can just rotate one player off of the B bomb site. They jump spotting towards deep banana, but they know in a 5v3, as soon as he gets contact, Rez's job is just to not die. They do know that he's jump spotting, they'll get that sound cue, so whether he gets killed on the jump spot is a question. Hopefully he doesn't for NiP's sake. They swing him close, and he's going to die, so now it becomes a bit tough. Brolan's coming close, he can flash himself, he can go through the smoke, but what is he going to do? He's going to be conservative or aggressive. It looks like it's going to be in between the two of them, gets a couple damage, but at 5v4, ooh, never mind. I was going to say 5v4 even though it was 4v3, but it looks like a 2v4 retake is going to be on the cards for NiP.
Oh, they're going straight through the smoke as well. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to see from NiP. Throw the textbook out the window. Play the man. Play the situation. You're playing against heavy underdogs. Don't treat them like you're playing against a tier 1 opponent right now. Get in their faces. Make plays. Flash through smokes. Shut them down. And win the rounds. Make it sound a lot easier than it is. But I like to see that aggression coming through from them.
No, I agree with you tenfold. I think what they did there was super solid. Obviously, Rez's jump spot foiled him a bit. He didn't jump spot deep enough of a line. But obviously, I think looking for Org, what they did was super good. Hugging the wall, making sure that none of their shoulders were seen. And now the money is not looking too good. So previously, the last 2 gun round wins, NiP started with 3 towards the B bomb site, making sure they can get banana control. And now they've gone back towards the 3A, and I like it because they know they aren't against good weaponry. Flash comes in and Brolan gets caught in the open. So now it's got a bit pear-shaped for NiP, and now they might push the issue towards the B bomb site.
Oh, yeah, Rez again is trying to save the day, but he's gone down. The smoke blocks off Hedrick from having any further impact. Config on the opposite side of the map has taken so much damage. I mean, this one should be unrecoverable for NiP. They're even still fighting to try and rotate in that direction. I love the position taken up here by Chiron. Aleksib not going to clear it all the way. Chiron doesn't actually spot them because he's still in the smoke, but that's not going to be a problem. As soon as these smokes do start to dissipate, AB will fall, but Chiron,
Oh
there we go. Yeah, he gets the trade. It was a little bit circumspect for one moment, but the kill goes the way that we expected. LFO absolutely on course here to lock in a 7th round. And it is going to be, I'd say, an impressive half coming through from them, all things considered, man. Surely no way for Config and Headtrick to get back into this, as we do see them getting shut down. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll have the second half of Inferno.
This time, show me a sign. You are always on my mind, always on my. The stars align. Show me a sign. You are always on my mind. You're 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 always on my. You're always on my. You're always on my mind. Slow down this ride. Speed up this high. You are always on my mind. Always on my. I will this time show you a sign. You are always on my mind. You're 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 always on my. You're always on my. You're always on my mind. Stay here this time. Show me a sign. You are always on my mind. Always on my mind. The stars align. Show me a sign. You are always on my mind.
We're back with the lower bracket matchup between LFO and NiP. Listen, Nick, I think if you had offered LFO 7 rounds on their T side of Inferno against NiP, they would have taken that every single day of the week, mate.
Well, they'll be chomping at your hand. I'll tell you that. If you put it out on a platter, you best to believe your whole arm is gone. And we were talking about the players that need to be performing here, and Brolin is leading the charge, 18 for 8 on the CT side, getting all the action towards B. And it's crazy because that's the side of the map where the bomb was getting planted every round, right? So we'll see the sort of action you can get towards B this time on the T side, because he's going to be that default player in the banana area, denying the molos, playing in the chaos, and we'll see how he plays. But it looks like NiP are going to go towards a B, slow contact or some sort of execute. However, there are 3 looking for all players, waiting for them with open arms.
There's a lot of utility up on the T side, mate. Surely at least the flash to clear this out. No, they boosted up instead to try and force the fight. Nade comes through. It has done a lot of damage, followed up with the kill there as well. Julie's will be dealt with, but these 4 players, they're walking wounded. It's really only Aleksib who has any notable points of health left remaining. Smet on the jiggle deals with Brolan. Headtrick's incredibly low. I love this angle from Spade 8, but unfortunately won't be able to make much of it. Config has the C4, but not for much longer. He's gone down through the smoke. There's that low HP coming into effect. Fake plant there from Aleksib. Goes through the smoke to force the issue, but Smet is ready for it. As LFO level up the scoreline by winning that second half pistol round.
Oh my goodness, I thought things were going to go so well for NiP. They sort of had the read. I really like clearing the sandbags with a boost rather than using utility, or at least going along the floor. It can catch players off guard really well. But the fact that there was a person on the corner holding an HE behind the half wall, it landed there. 3 or 4 NiP players instantly went to half health. It made the spams through smokes better. It made the aim punch even worse for the unarmored players, obviously. And I mean, the LFO players towards that side of the map were just clicking heads and making sure they get the pistol. And we thought LFO were going to force. That was a bit weird, but NiP have forced back.
Makes sense because they recognize themselves as the favorites. They just think we're not going to take a step backwards. We're not going to give these guys any respect. They have to earn it. So they force up here, and with great reason, Nick. These Tech 9s reign supreme at top banana. LFO decide to force the issue. Might not have been entirely necessary considering they would have known they were going against a weaker investment. And you kind of play into the hands of those weaker weapons by giving them the fights at the top of banana.
Yeah, I like the idea from LFO, the fact that it's sort of like if you're playing against Glocks, you just go kill them, right? Send the MP9s down banana. I think they had an MP9 and a UMP. However, the one UMP got dinked pretty much instantly. I think he was down to 10 or 15 HP, and then all of a sudden he didn't want to go. Chiron then gets blind, and Config and Aleksib were just cleaning up with the Tech 9s. Really, really, really well played from them. And this could have been looking for Orgs, not necessarily root back into the map. Me saying that as if they were never in it to start with. Obviously, it was a 7-8 scoreline, but this could have been the round where we saw it would have been 8-8, 8-9 if they won this. We would have seen them. They might have been the first team to get towards double digits, and we really could have seen if they could have started pulling away from NiP. But they've allowed them to root back into this half straight up just because of the second round. Maybe because they missed a bit of protocols. Maybe they got a bit too far ahead of themselves. But now NiP, now we should see their experience. We should see them. They know what sort of buy they're coming up against. Are they going to play it slow? Are they going to play it fast? We'll see what sort of decision they make up with. But we should start seeing really good Counter-Strike coming out in the T side of Inferno.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where they can actually start to shift into gear. And if they win this round, they'll be in a very comfortable position because 10-8 would become 11-8 after the eco round. So I expect NiP to start to settle into this game, although this round certainly isn't without its threats. Chiron, he's been boxed in, and Rez knows it. He will punish as a result. Restores the man advantage. And NiP are just forcing the issue now, mate. They're just taking fights. They're getting in the faces of LFO. They're recognizing their supreme individual ability across the board, and they're playing into those strengths. I really like to see it.
Oh my!
It looks like they've just had the leashes loosened a little bit, if you will.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Really, really solid round coming out from NiP. Even though Chiron got that kill, made things a bit more weird on towards Config. The fact that Rez was in a position, he was able to catch his fallback, and then the rest of the round just sort of fell into place for NiP. And now it's full USPs for LFO, so I wouldn't get my hopes up. The only way NiP get caught out in a round like this is maybe if they were to take top banana and the people aren't playing anti-flash and they get blind, or maybe they're taking brackets and people aren't playing anti-flash, and that's the only way that NiP can sort of lose this round. But when we're talking about people at this level, very, very seldom does that occur, right? Once you take top banana, your protocols are there, one guy anti, one guy facing. We should see if someone's going to farm now. Brolan's playing half anti-flash, there we go, making sure you can't get blind, and there we go. As soon as I said, the only way they lose is if they get blind, but guess what? They didn't get blind, so it's free kills for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Good protocols, good awareness, good discipline coming through. It's about making this one as clean as you possibly can, and it will be the cleanest. All 5 players staying alive. That's going to start to build up a wealth of economy on this T side, and that's going to start to give them some freedom here as well, Nick.
And
Now you feel like you have a round in the bank, right? Because you have that money to play with. You feel like you can get a little bit more cute with your approach in this gun round.
No, I agree, and it was one thing that I mentioned on LFO's ancient CT side was they would seem to cut so many corners in the utility department, and I think that's even exemplified more in Inferno. Like every round on CT side, you really want 5 mollies and 5 smokes, and we're talking about the first proper gun round on CT side. There's 5 smokes, yes, but there's only 2 molotovs, so it's going to become really tough for LFO rather to fight back and forth for this map control, because you molly deep, you get mollied back, you re-molly deep, and then you take the control. It's stuff like this, but once you don't have that utility, it becomes a lot harder. You have to go for dry faces or flash plays, which you could get caught off by. So NiP, they're already in much better stead in this round. The damage department is pretty much 50-50, but in terms of the utility, I mean, NiP have still got 4 smokes among them. For the side of LFO, it's only 3 smokes, and they've got 1 Molotov, so any way that they want to end towards whether it's A towards B, they have the Molotovs to clear out those, the important areas like Big Pit or New Box, depending on which side you go, and they have the smokes to lock out the choke points.
Yeah, that's why NiP have just slowed things down here. They've got control to work with. They just want to continue to bleed the utility. They've left Broland posted up by himself at the top of Banana, while in the meantime the rest of the team starts to gravitate in towards A, and it is the correct read of the situation. LFO have the lion's share of their defense over towards that B bomb site, and it doesn't look like they're considering moving any pieces. They're hard set, they're committed. You can see they're even cautious of the potential flank through the CT spawn. And you know what? I mean, the way NiP are setting themselves up, it might even be a B split that they look to try and bring into effect here. And with the way the defense is set up, this is what LFO would actually want, right? This is what they would be hoping to receive. 20 seconds on the clock now. This is where things are going to start to get awkward for NiP. Fresh Molly's going to keep them at bay for a few more seconds. They're not going to have any time to clear out the site. They're going to have to just go for the bomb plant itself. Chiron finds 1 conflict trade, but they need a lot more. The bait comes into effect. Beautifully played, but there's enough time for the plant. No health between the two of them. 17 points of health between 2 players to win out the 2v2. Lightning and Smet working in tandem. 1 bullet from either gun will get the job done. Hetrick stands out in the open. Inflicts damage, but it's not fatal. Smet hunting for the remaining player, but Aleksib forces the issue, and now it's on Lightning to clutch. Still very doable. He's got the kit to work with as well. They get out of dodge though. They're not giving him the fight he so desperately desires. Finds the first, taps the defuse. Not sticking it. Aleksib's made the read. He's gone for the gamble. He's not peeking out, and the time is over. Lightning has no chance, and NiP have done it.
Oh, both players go down. Perfect round of Counter-Strike. Bomb gets exploded. No one left alive in the server. And I think it was a great round of Counter-Strike from both teams, right? Like NiP, they were able to fight for the map control. They got all the map control towards brackets, towards Banana. And I really like their call, right? They throw the split smoke. They send 2 guys through towards CT. And if that utility was used a bit earlier, there's 20 seconds left on the clock. You've still got a smoke and a molly. You can drop the smoke, then drop the molly afterwards. But as soon as you see there's like 30 seconds left on the clock, just drop that smoke, right? And they have to jump through it. You can molly afterwards, you can molly in front of it, makes it a bit different. Or imagine they smoke towards deep CT, the round is a completely different complexion. But for the most part, NiP cleaned it up pretty well. Yes, they were low, but it was so good. Now we into the next round. It's a bit of half investment from LFO. And NiP are going to look to make it 13 on the board. And this has every opportunity to turn into 16-8, right? Like, NiP are that sort of a team. Yes, they were a bit shaky to start, but their money's starting to build up. 6.2 on Rez, 6.3 on Broadland, 4,000, I mean, not to mention, yes, 8,000 on Aleksib. If they win this round, their money's looking so good. Any comeback from LFO is going to be so difficult.
I mean, yeah, at least they get kills in that previous round to kind of keep NiP's economy in check, but that's not what you're looking for right now. You're looking for round wins. The only round they've won so far in the second half here was the pistol. And I love the way NiP approach this. They just take contact. They deploy the smoke only when they start to actually cross into the bomb site. They don't give LFO the clue. As AV, he wishes he had his pistol drawn in that moment. Chiron does, and he will get a kill as a result. That's out of dodge, and this is just them looking for frags. Broland is on one, man. 24 kills coming through from him right now. 8-8 with the flank, not going to be able to affect the outcome of the situation. Not that he would have, more would have just been about finding another kill, but I really like that approach against pistols, Nick, where you don't play too heavy with the utility. You just kind of give the rifles the space to force the fights. Means you also don't give the pistols a chance to try and get to try and make sneaky plays in and amongst the util as well. You just keep it basic, you keep the playing field open, and you allow the weaponry to to capitalize on their advantages and strengths.
Yeah, I agree with you so much, Matt. The fact that you know that you're coming up against lesser weaponry, so don't play with those timings where you have smokes or flashes or nades in hand. It almost happened to Headtrick there with Yorp, but we know he's playing complete support, right? We don't want 3 guys to set up with nades with 1 guy walking in. The fact that NiP approached it with the case of 1 guy holding nades and they don't even throw any flashes. I really like that approach, because if you think about pistols playing these sort of setups, even when you're playing deep in the bomb sites, you're sometimes making sure you're playing in anti-flash positions, or in this case, LFO having nades in hand, which is, you can't even blame them, because NiP cut the noise when they throw those nades, they shift into the bomb sites. As soon as they get contact, the round explodes after that, and if it wasn't for Chiron's 1 deke, for the most part, it would have been a super simple round from NiP, and it just showed that this is the level of Counter-Strike that they're able to play to. It's super solid, super well thought out, and really pretty at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is. And that's what you expect from an Aleksib-led T side. Chiron gets the kill. He's taken a lot of damage in the process, though. Brolan will force the issue, but he's also been brought down to half health. Lightning, the next man up to the plate, he jiggles to get information, and he decides against trying to force any fights. Wisely so. And he's on a good angle, but the question is, does he want to hold library or try and assist his teammates? He goes for the latter. That costs him his life. Lightning's actually just trying to stay alive right now. Eventually, he will actually step out and get a kill. Finally, Config is able to get into the fray, but there's still so much more that he needs. 1 versus 3. Players scattering the bomb site. Doesn't even know where he's being shot from. And LFO will finally win a 2nd round here in the 2nd half. And it's a gun round as well.
Yeah, I think LFO's defense in that round was really good, right? Yes, AV had the timing towards library. If Brolan's crosshairs trains towards his position, maybe the round is a bit of a different complexion. But I can't recall who was that pit player, but he dropped that smoke like literally in the middle of lane, and he was able to play around it, get a couple kills towards the right, get a couple kills towards the left, and it was super solid defense from LFO. And they need more of those rounds, and they need to be clean for the most part so they can start building up this bank, because even though they won the last round, if they lose this, they're in dire straits. So this next round is really going to be pivotal as to whether they can start cementing some sort of a comeback towards these guys. Oh! Brolan sees Fade 8 jumping up, and he gets his head torn off because of it.
I mean, that just feels like too much of a gamble if it's Fade 8 in such an important round as well. That's a very individualistic play to be made. I don't even know if there was a flash that he was trying to peek off of either. However, AV will make up for it as he gets a kill in return. He takes down the crown jewel on the opposite side. Aleksib tries to peek before the smoke blooms, but ends up peeking into 2 players. Lightning's now the only player on the side of the map, and the scoping would have been heard. He's been tagged down. He still gets the kill on Headtrick, who's looking to cross, but Config will trade. That's the A bomb site now open for business, 2v2. You back NiP in the situation, but LFO, they have got a pretty forward position here for the retake. Interestingly enough, Config doesn't plant for pit, so that's going to be making life a little bit more difficult in the post-plant position that Rez has potentially. Chiron coming through from apartments. Rez not considering this out in the open, loses his head. Config left remaining, using the pillar as cover. Lovely isolation of the fight, but he's taken so much damage from Chiron, who will finish off the job.
Yeah, I think those apps flanks on the A retakes become super strong if you get the right timing. I think, obviously, if you get the wrong timing and there's a T with the crosshair trains towards that position, you're pretty much nullified and out the round. But he gets that couple second window where Rez thinks, okay, he can only come lane. And then if he comes a couple seconds later and Rez starts to doubt himself and maybe think, okay, it's probably only going to be double arch or maybe 1 arch and 1 apps. But Chiron gets that perfect timing and wins the round. And pretty good spacing from that arch guy to come through. Yes, it was pretty much giving Config a 1v1, but it was at a sort of range where Chiron's not in the open jumping down at the same timing. So he made sure Chiron was still at the elevated position, and the guy coming through the arch smoke was at a relatively close distance, so it was able for Chiron to get in. Now it's 13-10, and I mean NiP's money's still looking really good, but this round, I seem to say it every round, but every round is so important for LFO, because as soon as they lose, it might come crumbling down for them.
Yeah, because their economy would just be absolutely shattered. Chiron's going to be peeking off the back of the utility. Unfortunately, he can't find the retreating Headtrick, and wisely he decides against continuing to force the issue. What I will say is, in any 13-10 lead for NiP against massive underdogs like LFO are in this series, you would expect NiP to win that every single day of the week. No problem at all, no questions asked. But their mental is incredibly weak right now, man. You know, they lost to Apex in that essentially playoff game of the Swiss stage. They lost to Domination before this 2-1. So I'm not going to completely write this one off just yet. And the further this goes, the more pressure NiP are going to feel. They're just fighting for their lives, man. They've got so much pressure on their shoulders right now. Compared to LFO, where's the pressure for them? There isn't any.
Yeah, they're just playing with the bee's knees. They're just enjoying themselves, and if they win, if they lose, it doesn't really matter. Oh, I do like this play though. The fact that they flashed before the smoke that bloomed. Oh, and Chiron gets killed through the smoke by Rez anyway.
Wow.
So now LFO completely doubt themselves. An A-Rap could be on the cards, or a B-split could be on the cards. An S-Fade 8, he's got the smoke in hand. He drops out the choke point. 20 seconds left. They're going to come through it anyway, lads. So depending on whether you can win the gunfight is going to depend on who wins the round.
AB boosted up, will finish off the kill into Config, makes his way back through the smoke, keeps himself alive. No, head trick, he's gonna chase him, are you kidding? Oh my god, if AB denies the bomb plant, he pretty much wins the round. Head trick had the bomb, Nick. Head trick had the C4 when he pushes through the smoke trying to hunt for that kill. That's insane. I mean, surely he didn't realize he had the bomb. Maybe he picked it up off of a Config's body after Config died. Anyway, enough speculation. The round is over. LFO head for the hills. You already mentioned how incredibly frail they were looking, that if they lost one round, they'd be shattered, and that's just happened. At least they saved 2 guns.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, right? And it's the really tough part about the CT economy is you can win round and round and round after round, but because you don't have any loss bonus, it's only going to be $1.4 thousand. So all of a sudden you've won, what is it, 3 rounds in a row, I want to say, or at least 2 rounds in a row. You have no loss bonus anymore, and now just like that, you've got players on like $2,500 or something like this, which becomes buying super tough. Yes, Lightning can drop one. AV's already purchased Kevlar and a couple pieces of utility, so it pretty much says that they are going to buy into this one. Smet can drop an MP9, and XM has actually been dropped over towards S-Fade 8, so, or rather Chiron, he's asked for that, so it will be interesting to see where that goes. I assume it's going to go either towards Apps or Banana. I assume it's the latter, but I'm really not too sure. And if LFO lose this round, it's going to be pretty much impossible, I want to say, for them to make this comeback.
Yeah.
But this might be one of the swing rounds where if they win with 3 or 4 players alive, it might be really tough for NiP to get over that mental hurdle.
I mean, at least NiP will still have money to invest in the next round if they do lose here. But certainly a lot more problematic for LFO if they lose a round or lose this round. Spade 8's taking quite a bit of damage there to the Molly as well. Wants to peek out. Okay, great kill on Broland. Broland's kind of getting nullified a little bit in these past few rounds towards Banana. They've been besting him. Really important opening kill coming through for the CT side. You know you want that AK if you're Spade 8. You want that rifle in Banana. But best he knows, it's a poison chalice.
This round is completely up to timing. S-Fade 8, any sound cue he hears, he's going to ask for the flash from AV. So any mantling up on the cart he hears, any pin pull, that's where the flash is going to come in. There's the sound cue, there's the flash, and there we go. Config was luckily anti-flash at that timing, so they know AV stuck on the bomb site somewhere. He's not going to drop the smoke. He wants to keep Ninja in Pajamas doubting as to where his position might be. They know obviously it's a coffin flash. He needs to be around that coffin area, but all of a sudden there's 2 players towards this B bomb site. A CT smoke has come in, a side smoke has come in from CT rather. Config is in front of it, where the LFO knows is questionable, and AV towards the back of the bomb site could be the nail in the coffin for LFO. It doesn't look like Config's even going to clear it. The boost up, Chiron's going to get that kill, Hedrick in a 1v4. AV is going to get that kill afterwards, and that's 11 on the board, and 4 people staying alive mean that this could be, as I said, the swing round, right? Yes. NiP can invest, or do they really want to? 3.8 on Config.
Yeah,
they can, but do they want to is a question, and LFO, they can start building up the bank.
I mean, such an important round that goes their way. I fully expect NiP to go all in here.
And I think that's
you
why
do
they
use
called
their
the attack to speak it over.
Yeah, their first one. Give DJL an opportunity, their coach, maybe to give it a little bit of a contribution. I was surprised that NiP didn't just put the pedal to the metal there after they got that kill on Spade 8, I think it was. And they actually, they just paused. It's almost like they tried to give time to the player who was top of middle to try and fake it out or maybe rotate through. I think had they gone through immediately after they get that kill, they drop the CT smoke and they push into the bomb site. In my books, they stand a better chance there of winning the round. But they try to actually just freeze, maybe sow the seed of doubt, but that proved to be a very costly decision.
Yeah, it's super tough for NiP now. So as you said, they did choose to invest rather. Hedrick's down to a Galil, Config is down to not even a rifle. He's got a Tech 9, but they are pretty much full belts of utility amongst all the players. Bar Brolan, he's losing a flash. hit trick as well, but he threw his flash towards middle versus a full belt of utility for everyone on the side of LFO. It's probably the best buy we've seen for them for a very, very long time. So they'll back themselves tenfold in winning this round. So it's going to be interesting to see what NiP, what sort of span in the works can they throw for LFO, because they've been playing really standard up to now. Yes, they had a one round where they tried to sort of arch wrap into lane burst sort of idea that didn't quite go their way, but majority of the time them just defaulting has pretty much won them a couple rounds. But they're going to have to try find something else, some other X factor to win them in these next couple rounds, whether it's a delayed bulk pop or an arch split or something like this. Something with a little bit more pace, more venom could really show them in good stead.
Yeah, I'd like to see that as well. Just sort of go for the brute force approach. Yeah, we're going to be trying to sell a bit of a fake over towards that B bomb site right now. Brolin's there by himself. He's dropped the CT smoke, but they haven't been able to draw any rotations away from A. LFO still sit firmly fixed with 3 players on that A bomb site. 40 seconds on the clock. NiP have been consistently leaving themselves quite a little bit of time left on the clock when it comes to the execute, and that's going to be the case here once again. I mean, I'm not even certain where they're going to end up this round, because Aleksib started to go back towards that B bomb site. Now they're going to try and fake in towards B. That costs Brolan his life. Aleksib will go down as well. Chiron charges into middle. Sure, gets the first and goes down afterwards, but it doesn't matter. Rez has been dealt with, and it looks like NiP are just completely overthinking this game right now.
Yeah, it's so weird, because in theory this idea might work. The only time I think it works when you got 2 players towards B and 3 towards brackets is if the CT is on a man disadvantage situation. You're throwing these nades towards B and you're trying to get a timing into which the CTs are going to come looking, but you haven't really pressured either side of the map too much where the CTs are going to question themselves. They're happy towards B, they're happy towards A. They win a standard 3-2 setup, and I mean, NiP are just running the clock down way too low. They're rushing into these late rounds and things are going a bit pear-shaped, but they're going to get this flash towards Banana, and S-Fade 8 is going to clean up, and this looks like it's going to be a 13th round on the board for LFO, and we're talking about NiP's experience and the fact that they should be winning these 13-10 leads, these 13-8 leads that they found themselves in, but all of a sudden, looking for found a string of rounds, 5-6 rounds in a row, and all of a sudden it's obviously, it hasn't been 6, but it's been like 3-4 rounds in a row, and now NiP are sort of scratching their heads. They're even staying in spawn just to talk things over.
Well, they have to die here as well, because they need that round loss bonus. But I'm starting to get pretty scared for NiP, man. I mean, I know that they have Mirage next, so that's like a failsafe. That's an insurance policy. But you can't go down 0-1 in the series against a team who are looking for an organization, a team that you wouldn't even recognize a single name, bar the stand-in Chiron. And I don't mean any disrespect to Smet, Lightning, AV, and Spade 8, but we gotta be real, man. You know, this team, previously known as Flow State, only if you're like a Counter-Strike, you know, I don't want to say aficionado, but a very committed fan or somebody who watches a huge amount of CS, then you might be familiar with these guys. But when we're talking about NiP against these individuals, against this team, there shouldn't even be a conversation to be had. And right now, there's 1 round between these 2 teams.
And I think that's the thing you love to hate to see, sort of thing, you know, the fact that at this sort of level, you can't be having an off day. You really can't. I mean, NiP, they've already shown that they've lost to our domination or domination rather in the previous matchup. And if this is an off day for NiP, they're playing 2 games back to back. They lose to domination in the first one, and could they have a 0-2 day where they lose to LFO as well? And keep in mind, it's a double elimination bracket, and they've already used their first life, so yeah, they'd obviously be one of the favorites, and they'd also back themselves to get towards that ESL Challenger Katowice main event. But whether they can do it is up to question now. The fact that it's 13-14, your money isn't good, your backs are against the wall. LFO have got the momentum swinging in their favor.
Yeah,
it's a question as to whether NiP can sort of tie their shoelaces and get ready for the race.
Yeah, mate, I mean, if NiP lose this round, it's 14-all, they've got no cash, then it's LFO who get to map point first. And then they're playing for overtime, which would just be a disaster. Let alone still trying to win the game from there. Okay, looks like this time they have taken banana control again, but they will commit towards A. And probably with more time left on the clock, just with the way that they're already set up with the util that's raining in. Smokes over the top, flashes to lead the charge. Chiron's blind, he's out in the open. Config just runs him over, absolutely dominates him. Smet, I think he's been spotted towards the wagon. Himself and Lightning work in tandem. Lightning's out in the open, and he will only strike twice before he's taken down. Much better from NiP. Way more conviction in the execute there, Nick.
And you see NiP have a round like this where they all bunch together. They've got 4 guys towards brackets, 1 guy towards apps. They had an idea to go with an initial arch split, but then all of a sudden they get that early kill, so they realize, okay, cool, we don't need to set numbers towards arch anymore. We can delay those numbers. We instead send 2 guys up N1, or lane rather. And the fact that they were able to win that round out so well, the spacing was so good, you could see that this is the level of CS when they're together, it sort of works. And this, you were speaking about it earlier, the fact that they were going to overcomplicate things. We might be going for a ninja here. Maybe it's just damage. Maybe they try ninja.
I mean, the thing is, you can't ninja when there's 3 players saving in pit,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
it is just about damage right now.
Maybe I got a bit ahead of myself. I was a bit keen.
That's okay. I mean, they will actually inflict death on all 5 players for NiP. Spade 8 looks for the AWP. That doesn't really matter because they'll afford to buy one anyway. But 15-13, mate, NiP, they've just breathed the biggest sigh of relief as they get across the line in that round. And actually, those kills do have some implications because look at the rifles that are going to be in play here. It's Galils across the board.
Yeah, I really want to see a bit of a change of pace from NiP here. Maybe like an early brackets pop of some sort through a mid smoke or fast B take, something like this where we haven't really seen the full venom coming out from NiP. But that maybe just could be the fact that you want to take a bit more of a conservative approach. You don't really know what you're looking in for. You can't really prep for a team like looking for Org. You don't really know the aggressive plays that they have. Maybe that's in the back of the mind of Aleksib and DJL coming into these rounds, but we haven't really seen any early round pops from NiP, and I'd really like to see something like that. We do see these late sort of round executes, and you mentioned it before, the fact that they sort of overthought these ideas. 3 guys towards A, 2 guys towards B, doing a B fake, both those B guys die, running into A, all 3 of those A guys die, versus when you stuck all 5 together, it was solid, it was good, it looked pretty, it was a fine end, trades were fantastic, and maybe NiP choose that they're just going to go straight back to that. They're going to fight for brackets control a bit at the start of the round. Okay, they get banana control, sort of the standard stuff from Inferno. You get banana, you get apps, you then get brackets afterwards. They've done all that, and again, exactly what happened the previous round, right? They grouped as 5,
Yeah.
they have all the control, and they're just going to try end, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same result.
Well, the one variation is that they haven't thrown the archers and the library smoke to try and pressure Kyron. They've actually just smoked off the left side of the middle, and it looks like they're just going to bulldoze their way through short in towards A. With Rez coming out of the apartments, how does it unfold? That's the big question right now. Smetzel able to maintain his position. Lightning gets a kill, traded out straight afterwards. Kyron's been dealt with. Rez wants to come through apps, but he has support from his teammates, and there we go. It's way more convincing from NiP. Looking like a different team in these past 2 rounds. Not overthinking, not trying to get too cute with the fakes, the rotations, the flanks, the extra depth to the round. Stock, standard, simple approach works for a reason. AV will burn out to finish off the map 16-13. NiP, they win their opponent's map pick. They go up 1-0 in the series. And Nick, I mean, there's no elation. There's no happiness right now. It's just pure relief.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the only positive that NiP can really draw from that is that it was their opponent's map pick, right? We spoke about this before. We thought of looking...